Welcome to r/Entitledparents, where an entitled dad steals a girl's underwear. Our next Reddit post is from M. Nunn. When I was about 15, I attended a very religious Baptist school. It was crazy. So at 15, I really wanted to dye my hair. My mother had always dyed her hair, and I was excited about trying something other than the dishwater brown I had. I begged, and my mom finally said okay as long as it was semi-permanent. I desperately wanted red, so off to Walmart we went. We found a foam mousse that said it lasted 2 weeks. The box says auburn. Sweet, a natural color. The school handbook says no dyeing your hair unnatural colors because of God or something. So we dye my hair, and when it comes out, it is red. Like fire hydrant, Little Mermaid, cherry popsicle red. But it looks great, lit AF. I'm thrilled. But I'm nervous to ask my mom if she thinks it'll be okay and if I'll get in trouble. She works as a teaching assistant at the school, and so she says she doesn't think it'll be a problem, and we head to school the next day. Also on this day, we're doing a volunteer day to stack wood for an old man. Welcome to New England. I get to school, and once inside, the hat comes off. It's a very small school. The entire high school is about 30 people and 5 teachers. I get loads of compliments from the teachers too, and all's well. But not for entitled kid. She's got a face like a shrunken sphincter, and she's been glaring at me all morning. I hate this goody two-shoes B word anyway, so I ignore her. Well, entitled kid's mom is the receptionist for the school, and she doesn't like me either. About 11 a.m., I get hauled out of class and into the principal's office. Already I'm humiliated and I'm not sure what's going on. I get there to entitled mother and the principal glaring at me. Entitled mother claims that I was bragging to everyone that I didn't have to follow the rules and knows because her entitled kid told her. And that I thought I wouldn't get in trouble because my mom works at the school. To clarify, my mom is a second grade teacher's assistant and I'm in high school. Also, I'd said nothing to anyone. I've never ever been in trouble. Straight A student, teachers love me. I'm a huge frickin' nerd. The principal decides that Karen, which is her actual name, is definitely telling the truth. They say that I don't reflect godly values with my sinner's hair, and I'm not allowed to go help stack an old man's firewood because I don't represent Christ with my sinner hair. I leave the office sobbing, and my old teacher catches me and asks what the heck is going on. I sob and explain, and then head off to the empty room that I'm meant to sit in alone the whole afternoon while all my friends go off together to volunteer. On the way, I pass entitled kid and entitled mother talking, and entitled kid smirks at me. But my old teacher has other plans. She's legit the best woman ever. She goes to find my mom knowing this whole thing is BS. My mom loses her freaking mind. And the room I'm in is next door to the principal's office. It shares a wall. I can hear her yelling. She goes up one side and down the other, saying she doesn't know what entitled mother's problem is, but if they had half a brain, they'd know that Karen likes to stir stuff up. And I'm legit a 15-year-old who has zero history of causing trouble. 5 minutes later, the principal and a fuming Karen are in my classroom to say that while they don't think that my hair is Christ-like and I'll need to wear a hat the whole time that I stack wood, I can go on the volunteer day. F you, Karen, and your sphincter goblin. Also, I was the best firewood stacker they had. Our next Reddit post is from someone you know. A few months before quarantine happened, I got custody of my 6-year-old niece and 7-year-old nephew due to the death of their parents. My cousin was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, what people call a psychopath or a sociopath, when he was in prison for assault with a deadly weapon 5 years ago and had to pay a fine. His diagnosis makes a lot of sense to me because when he was younger, he enjoyed torturing animals and was basically the textbook serial killer in the making. When we were younger, he put a camera in my bathroom that my twin brother found before I went in there. He tried to smother me and attempted to kill our family dog. My cousin's mother, we'll call her Julia, refused to take the fact that he attempted to kill us seriously, and I was too scared to file a police report after all of this. I was relieved when I found out that he was sent to prison, unlike his mom, who was apparently sobbing at the court hearing. My cousin is set to be released in August of this year. His mother, Julia, and several other family members have been refusing to let him into their homes because of his history. His mother has been begging my twin brother and me to reconsider our stance. She apparently found me on social media after I cut her out of my life for different reasons not pertaining to my cousin. When making our decision, my twin brother and I took into account the fact that he slipped a camera into my bathroom, the fact that he tried to kill me when we were children, and the fact that my twin and I are now sharing a room with my niece and nephew in the other room. I am sure that this man will become a serial killer later in life because of the path he's taking. My mom, brother, and several other family members are on my twin and I's side. However, several other family members are calling us cruel and want us to just let him stay on the couch until he can get his footing. However, for the safety of myself, my niece and my nephew, and my twin brother, we're a firm no. I could not agree more with this top comment from Brianna Warner. Tell those other family members that if it's no big deal, then they can take him in. Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. So anyway, before we get into the story, my friend's dad was recently divorced, and it turns out that he was a child predator with loads of very illegal pictures on his laptop and is now in jail. And after that, he had about 5 restraining orders placed on him. Okay, so how I found out about this was I was at my friend's birthday sleepover. We were swimming in her pool and we drank some wine coolers, with her mom's supervision, which was still illegal. But we didn't get drunk, just slightly tipsy. So anyway, my friend's dad has a strict no locked doors policy. Anyway, I decided to take a shower, so I of course locked the door. I was bathing in my friend's bathroom, so I had her bedroom door shut and the bathroom door locked, if that makes sense. So I heard my friend's bedroom door open as I shouted, "Occupied," out of the shower. I got no response except the door shutting quickly, which I thought was just one of the other girls walking in and seeing that I was in there. Anyway, I stepped out of the shower and I stayed in the bathroom while I changed and dried off. All of a sudden, the bedroom door opens again, and when I said occupied, the person didn't stop and went straight for the bathroom door as they jiggled the handle extremely violently and pounded on the door. I stayed silent as I thought there was someone in the house trying to get to me. 10 seconds later, I hear her dad's voice yell, "Open this door right effing now!" I'm already changing to clean clothes at this point, so I slowly open the door. "Why the heck is the door locked?" he shouted as I apologized and explained that I was showering and I wanted privacy, and he said that that's no excuse. I pushed that aside as I thought he was in a bad mood or something happened and he couldn't do anything because the door was locked. I stuffed my dirty clothes into my bag and I went back to the party, and we were all settling down into sleeping bags in the living room, which was big enough for all of us. I placed my bag right next to me as I have some valuables in the bag: phone, charger, money, ID, etc. We watched movies until 4 in the morning, which is when we started to go to sleep. I got a strange feeling about being watched, so I stayed up for another hour on my phone. I fell asleep, and about an hour later I hear rustling next to my head. I opened my eyes to see my friend's dad squatting next to me, rummaging through my bag as he pulled out my dirty bra and underwear as he stood up. I screamed at the top of my lungs and everyone woke up. My stuff was everywhere and my friend's dad quickly dropped my stuff. I screamed, "What the F are you doing?" at him, and everyone saw what he did and saw him drop my stuff. He tried to defend himself as his wife came rushing in. "I was trying to make sure you didn't have any drugs," was the excuse he went with. I ran over to the wife and explained what happened, as the dad was saying that I'm a lying skank and that I forced him to hold my stuff. The husband went to a different room, and I explained to the friend what her dad did, and she told someone else, so I guess the rumor spread around. Everyone was panicking, and they were all making sure that the man didn't take their bra and panties. Then I heard the husband scream that I was the one who stole their underwear, so I called the cops. And 10 seconds later, I heard the wife scream, and at this point, it was just a catastrophe. We all ran over to her to make sure she was alright, and everything started to become chaotic. Girls were crying and panicking because the dad had this area set up with all of the girls' underwears with name tags next to them, such as, for example, Cindy's underwear. Oh my god. Oh my god! So I'm going to be vague about this next sentence because of the YouTube algorithm, but let's just say that the husband had used them. The police arrived and we explained to them what had happened and he was taken away. A few months later, I went to court as my parents were pressing charges, and I explained what happened and we won the case. Then another few months went by and I was talking to that same friend and she said that her parents got a divorce and that her dad was in jail for harassment and images that you're not allowed to have. r/entitled parents? This is way beyond entitled parents. I feel like I need holy water eye drops after reading this story. OP, I'm sorry that this happened to you, and I'm glad that this loser is in jail where he belongs. Our next Reddit post is from Ink in the Water. And on this next post, OP clarifies that in their country, it's normal to live with your parents until you get married. At the time of this story, I, a 24-year-old female, was riding a career high. I was working for a famous screenwriter in my country, and we were doing projects for Netflix and Amazon. I put writing my book on hold for this. Before anyone asks, both shows went into development hell and will not be released internationally in any case. My parents and I were moving into a fancy apartment building that has its own cafe. You can't access the cafe unless you're a resident or have been given a pass. I was in there one day, getting coffee and chatting with some other residents while waiting for some things to be delivered. A nice couple was telling me about how much I was going to like living there and how nice everyone in the building was when in walk entitled dad and entitled kid, an 8-year-old girl. A cold wind blew in and my steaming cup of coffee turned tepid. Entitled dad, who I've never seen before, points at me and says, "OP, you're that famous writer." I writhed under this accusation as I was in no way famous and had no idea who this lunatic pointing at me was. The couple backed away and entitled kid runs at me and hugs my legs. Thrown off balance, I dropped coffee onto my foot, which turned back to scalding the moment it touched my foot. Howling in pain, I hobbled to a sofa and sat down while the staff scrambled to get me some ice. Entitled kid had a death grip on me and I had to pry her off. The nice couple was handing me napkins when entitled dad plowed through them and pointed at me again. "OP, you look just like your mom. I met her in the lobby and she told me you're a writer and that you were here. This is my child." Entitled kid was now setting her backpack down next to me. "I'm sorry, I have no idea who you are." "I'm Mr. Douchebag. So, since you're a writer, you can do entitled kid's homework for her. And give me your number so I can set up a time for you to give her English lessons every day." This is about when I thought I was having a stroke. I'm a teacher now? Is this kid opening a textbook? I think you have the wrong person. I don't teach. "I know, but you can start now. It's our duty to teach the youth. So I'll just pick entitled kid up in an hour, okay? I actually have to run. I'll get your number from your mom." And he walked out, leaving me with this loud, belligerent girl who insisted on going through my purse. She then proceeded to shove her homework at me and demand that I do it while she played on her iPad. Spinning with pain and confusion, I pried my purse away from entitled kid who immediately began to scream. I hobbled out of there, wincing, while entitled kid stayed inside and demanded that the staff gave her cookies. I made it to the lobby where entitled dad was terrorizing others. He looks at me and apparently loses what was left of his fragile mind. "What are you doing here? I told you to finish entitled kid's homework. Did you leave her alone in the cafe?" "Yeah, that's not my job. And yes, I did. I need to get something on my foot. You can go get her." Entitled dad proceeds to bar my way to the elevator and demands that I wait until he gets entitled kid so we can all go up to my apartment and I can do her homework there. This is where I kind of lost it. I yelled for security and they came running, took one look at me leaning against the wall in pain and escorted me to the elevator. Entitled dad was yelling at me the whole time, saying he would be up there soon. So here's where it gets worse. In the elevator, security informed me that he was a realtor and not a resident. He would not be allowed up to my apartment after what I told them. Upstairs, my parents were horrified and my mother apologized for telling anyone what I did. Apparently, he told her and some others that he was a resident. Entitled dad cornered her in the lobby later and demanded my number. She gave him a piece of her mind and said that he would be in trouble if he or his kid ever approached me again. He backed down, but told her I should be more understanding because OP is old enough to get married and have her own children. Who stays unmarried at 24? She had him escorted off of the premises. He's now banned entry for harassing residents. Entitled kids stole what she thought were mints from my purse. They were herbal laxatives. That was r/entitledparents, and if you like this video, then check out my podcast where I publish the exact same content. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.